Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. In today's video, I am going to be working on the first of my Colorcast Designs projects using the kit that was released in January but was February themed. Now this project is one that I actually decided to do after I had already finished up my project planning process video, which was that was live yesterday. So that is available to watch if you haven't seen it already. So I had originally put these three pieces, this favorite show, favorite food, favorite book, in with the supplies to use for an All About Me TN. However, I decided that they were a little too bulky for the traveler's notebook. I think that it just, I don't know, I just felt like it wouldn't be a great decision to put all three of these in one book. So instead, I decided to create a spread where these three pieces go directly onto a 6x8, or I guess technically a 6.875 by 8.25, so one of those outside the page protector pages, and then can be a spread to talk about my favorite show, my favorite book, and my favorite food. So, and it's just going to be that, just this spread right here. So I thought, since this is one that I didn't show you guys in the planning process, that I would go ahead and put it together here as my video for this month. That way you can see how this one comes together as well. So what I'm going to do is put you guys on fast forward here, get everything assembled, and then once we're done, we'll slow back down so that we can close out for today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, you guys, so before we get to the assembling of this page over on my craft table, the first thing I wanted to come over here and show you is how I created these boxes inside of Photoshop and then actually printed them on my journaling page in order to give me the place marks for where to put my photos. So what I did here is I first started by creating my canvas, which is going to hold my journaling. My canvas for me is sized at 6.875 by 8.25 inches at 300 pixels per inch. So you can see that over here in the menu section. And then I created this. So that gives me this plain white background here. Next, what I did is I knew I wanted my title to be roughly 1.5 inches from the top. So I went up into the ruler section at the top here, and I clicked on the ruler and then dragged down this line to about 1.5 inches, which it gives me those measurements there. So there's 1.5 inches, and I let it go. So this is a guideline that shows me that starting, up to here is 1.5 inches, and all the rest of my stuff is going to go below it. From here, I took those acrylic pieces and I measured them to figure out roughly how big they each were, and all of them measured in right around 2.5 inches wide by 1.25 inches tall. So I came over to my toolbar here on the left side, and I'm going to click on the shape tool. If you don't have the rectangle shape currently selected, you can hold down on the shape and then find the rectangle. So we'll select the rectangle. Then if I just simply click into my canvas, I can bring up this menu that lets me put in exact measurements. So I'm going to say 2.5 inches, and you have to type in IN for inch, by 1.25 inches. And then when I hit enter, it gives me that shape right here. Now I don't want my shape to be black, although I guess it really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pick kind of a light-ish gray color, maybe even lighter than that. How about that? There's a lightish gray color, and we'll hit enter, and that will allow it to be that size. And then if I hit enter again, then the shape is created, and I can now move it if I wish. So I am going to switch over to my move tool so I can move this shape. And then I also need to rasterize it. So I'm going to come down to my layer panel and right click on rectangle 1, which will give me a menu. We're going to go up to raster size layer and hit that. That is going to allow me to change some properties about it, and then it's also going to make it easier to copy it and paste it. So now that I have this done, I know I have 3 of these pieces I'm working with. So I am going to copy this layer, Control C, and paste Control V to create some additional boxes here. Now I want there to be some journaling in between the pieces, so I am going to place these I want them to be equally spaced, which the nice thing is when you're moving inside of Photoshop, it's going to let you know how much distance is in between your elements. So right now there's 0.893 inches in between. That might be okay, actually. So we're going to leave that there. Next, I'm going to grab my text tool, and I'm going to make a text box. I actually don't want it to touch here, so we'll start it like this. We're going to hit the enter button, and then I'm going to go back to the move tool in order to move that down a little bit, just giving me a little bit of extra space. Again, I can go ahead and copy this text box and paste it, and then I can move those into place underneath each of my boxes here. So now I've got the text and I've got the place where the acrylic is going to go. Last but not least, I need to figure out the size of my photo here. So what I did to figure out how big I wanted it to be is I grabbed my rectangle tool, which is underneath the move tool on the left hand side, and I clicked and dragged a box to be roughly the shape that I want. So this is looking like, right now it says it's 3.143 inches wide by 1.93 inches tall. So I would probably make mine roughly 2 inches by 3 inches. That's what I'm going to guess I did. Let's go back and find out what exactly that was. So I made it, yes, 3 inches by 2 inches. Perfect. So if I come back over here, we're going to deselect, Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac. And then we're going to grab that shape tool again, the rectangle, click into the center. And this time we want this to be 3 inches by 2 inches. We're going to hit the enter button and we'll get another one of those rectangle shapes here. This time I'm going to change it again. I want this to just be super light. That's like even lighter than the rest because we are going to, that's too much. We are going to print this, maybe this one. And I don't want to use a ton of ink, so I'm just going to keep it as light as possible. And then we're going to hit enter and enter again. So this is going to now let us move the shape into place. So we can place it so that it is in line with the top here. And then we're going to rasterize this layer again. So go down to your layers panel, right click on rectangle 2 and rasterize it. So from here we can copy this and paste it to create our 3 photos. And there they all are. And then if you wish, like I probably would want these to go a little bit more to the left so that I have extra room on the right for punching my holes. So that's probably going to be good right here. Or what I could also do is get these however close I want them to be and then highlight everything. So select it all. And then if I move it, it'll put everything into the direct center, which that's really probably how I want this to go. And then we'll punch one side, the other side will be not punched. And then we've got basically what this is going to look like. So what I would do when I was printing this, let me just click off of this. To print this out, I would go ahead and change my journaling to whatever I actually want to say. And then these rectangles, I'm going to click the eyeball and hide them because I don't want to print these out. I just want there to be an empty space for me to place those acrylic pieces. So this right here is the journaling page that you're going to see me working with for today's spread. All right, so now that we're back at my desk, we're going to go ahead and get this thing put together. The first thing I want to work on is getting some kind of pattern paper piece up at the top of this spread. First, to give it a little bit of extra color, but then also to give me a section where I can then place some puffy, or not even puffy stickers, just some alphabet stickers up at the top to give me some pattern there. So I chose this piece right here. This pattern paper is from Pink Paisley and I believe it's called And Many More. It has balloons on one side, but then it has this multicolored blues and teals brush strokes on the opposite side. I really loved the tone of the blue, which I thought went well with the acrylic pieces too, because the acrylic pieces are like a dark teal, a light teal, and a white. So it made sense for me to do something at the top of this page that also had some kind of blue tone to it. I believe I actually cut that down to 1¼ inches instead of 1½, which worked out fine. And then you can see how having those squares printed on my journaling page makes this part super easy. So I can just go ahead and add my adhesive to the back of my photos and then place those photos directly on top of the boxes. So everything looks really nicely aligned. It really helps, I think, to eliminate the need for me to measure things and make sure that everything's straight and good, because I can just plug it right down on top of those. Next, I am taking my roller adhesive, adding it to the back of these acrylic pieces and putting those into those blank spots. So, you know, if I was using something that had a shape to it, I probably could have done the same thing where I added some kind of like light gray template so that I knew exactly where to place it. But because these are irregular shapes and they are words and all of that sort of thing, you would have been able to see that. So I just needed this place to be blank for me. I had a little piece of the backing come off of that favorite food one, and then there were some pieces of the gray or the brown paper poking through. So I just wanted to get rid of that before I adhered it down onto the page. Once I had those done and everything so far is looking great, I went ahead and hole punched this, mostly because I'm going to add my title up to the top, and I just want to make sure that I'm not going to add anything where it would be punched out anyway. Then I picked out two separate alphabets. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with. I have this gray one from Studio Calico, and then I had the white like chipboard stickers from Ali Edwards December Daily. Ultimately, I decided to go with the gray. I thought that it would be neutral enough that that it wouldn't pop out too much, but that also, you know, you could still see it. It just has a very cool tone, just like the rest of this page. One trick that I learned, I don't remember who I learned it from, but I knew the title I wanted to put at the top was My Favorites. So prior to even starting with getting any of these letters adhered up there, I first took a pen and made a little tiny dot at the top of each of the letters I was going to need. That was just a really easy way for me to make sure that I was going to have enough alphabets to be able to do the entire title. So just a little tip there. All right, you guys, that completes my spread for today. I think this one came together really, really well. I love how clean and bold, and it's just really nice. I'm going to hold it up here so you guys can kind of get a close-up view of it. And yeah, so a really fun way to use those acrylics to just tell one full story in and of itself. I may actually stick a date stamp on here really quick just so I know when I filled this out, because, you know, these are things that all change. Favorite foods, favorite books, and favorite shows, those can totally change. So let me put my date on here for when I made this, and then that is going to do it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video today, and I hope that it has helped you to feel inspired to use some of your acrylic pieces to help you tell some stories this week. If it did help you, and if you have a story idea in mind, let me know in the comments section, either here on the video or back on our Patreon underneath the post. You can add a comment there as well, and let me know what story you are going to tell with your Colorcast kit if you are a subscriber as well. All right, you guys, I will be back again next week where we will be working with the latest Ali Edwards story kit that I have in my stash, and that kit is the Connect kit. So if you are a story kit subscriber and you also have the Connect kit, then this will be the perfect opportunity to see what kinds of stories I am going to be telling with that one. And then on Tuesday next week, we'll have a process video for that collection as well. So I will see you guys back here then. Until then, if you have any questions, comments, anything, let me know either through messaging or somewhere on one of the posts or in the Facebook group, wherever it is easiest for you. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.